Lime, it's the basis to soil function. Maintaining soils at the correct pH brings many benefits. Most notably is nutrient supply. It improves soil structure and improves soil health, soil quality. It also provides a favourable environment for soil life such as bacteria, fungi, earthworms. By keeping the pH in that optimum zone, it also brings environmental benefits. So yes, most definitely, Catherine, there's big benefits to applying lime.
Hello and welcome to the Beef Edge, the Teagasc Beef Podcast, for all your latest news, information and advice for Irish beef farmers. I'm Catherine Egan, and on this week's episode, I'm joined by Teagasc specialist Mark Plunkett to discuss the National Liming Programme launched by the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine recently. Mark, you're very welcome. Why is lime so important?
Thanks, Catherine. Yes, that's an excellent question, Catherine. Look, lime, it's the basis to soil function. Maintaining soils at the correct pH, it brings many benefits. Most notably is nutrient supply. It improves soil structure and improves soil health, soil quality. It also provides a favourable environment for soil life such as bacteria, fungi, earthworms, and an enormous amount of small life that's in the soil. So by keeping the pH in that optimum zone, it also brings environmental benefits in terms of it increases nutrient efficiency, reduces the production of harmful gases such as nitrous oxide. Also, our soils are a major reservoir of soil carbon, and we sequester quite significant amounts of carbon there on an annual basis. So yes, most definitely, Catherine, there's big benefits to applying lime and keeping soils in the targets in terms of the optimum for the main crops. Like for grassland, we talk about a pH of 6.3 plus. Where you want to get clover into the mix, we talk about a pH of 6.5. And for such crops as cereals, again, a pH of 6.5. And for sensitive crops such as beet or oilseeds, we talk about a pH of 6.5 to 6.8.
You mentioned there for optimum for grassland is 6.3, Mark. Can you quantify what are the limitations to grass growth and the nutrient usage by having a soil pH of, say, 5.5 versus the optimum 6.3?
Well, again, a pH of 5.5 is quite acidic. Those soils will have a large lime requirement, and correcting that pH in a grassland situation brings many benefits in terms, as I was saying there, it provides a nice environment for the bugs, the earthworms to work. Like for example, we can grow an extra 10 to 20% more grass. You might ask, Catherine, where does that extra grass production come from? And it comes from an active soil, a biologically active soil, good soil structure. We can release or mineralize up to 80 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare, and that grows the extra grass. We also can lift our soil P levels from liming alone, that the phosphorus is more available. We also use applied nutrients more efficiently, like take chemical fertilizer, chemical phosphorus, potassium, which are all now very, very expensive. So like our soils are a massive resource of nutrients, Catherine. There's only a small amount of them being available annually. Like we're fishing in a very small pool in terms of NP and K, but by getting the pH right, we increase the biological activity and we increase the availability of those nutrients in terms of growing more grass and being more efficient with applied nutrients.
And where are beef farmers when it comes to applying lime nationally, Mark?
Based on the most recent National Soil Fertility Report, over the last 3 to 4 years, we have seen pH levels declining on beef farms. Currently, there's somewhere around 57% of soils below the optimum pH of 6.3. And as I say, back in 19, that was 43%. So there has been a decline over the last number of years. Look, you might ask the question why. Like maybe look, there's a transition there between environmental schemes. Soil sample numbers have decreased on the beef side of the house. Now a lot of those farms have been resampled in, I suppose, the last 6 to 12 months. So the information is now there on farm for people to act and spread lime and get back up to that target pH of 6.3 to 6.5 on grassland farms.
And we're after a very wet period and we see fertiliser prices are still very high. When is the best time to apply lime?
Yeah, look, I suppose the weather we've had there in the last, I suppose, week or 10 days, soils have got wet and are not as trafficable as they were, say, in the month of February. February was a super month for spreading lime. But Catherine, look, you can spread lime any day of the year, provide the weather and the soil conditions are right, and you're not interfering with livestock. You know what I mean? Say once paddocks are grazed out is a perfect time to get lime out when paddocks are bare, after first cut silage, after second cut silage, if you're reseeding, nearly any day of the year, you can spread lime here in this country.
That's great, Mark. And I suppose there's always confusion around the issue of spreading lime and applying fertilisers such as protected urea or compound fertilisers like 10-10-20 or 18-6-12. What advice have you for applying lime and protected urea or compound fertilisers?
Good news as regards protected urea. There's no issue with protected urea and lime, because the coating on the protected urea protects the granule. It regulates the pH, so there's no issues with volatilization. Now with unprotected urea, there is, like, you know what I mean, that if we spread lime, we must wait a minimum of 3 months between liming and spreading protected urea. And I suppose the alternative there is to apply the protected urea first, or sorry, apply the ordinary urea first, wait 10 days when the urea has stabilized and the conversion has happened in the soil of urea to ammonium, and then you can spread your lime. As regards the likes of 18-6-12, there's no issue. 10-10-20, no issue, Catherine, as regards timing with respect to lime.
The only issue really is with regard to silage ground and applying lime.
Yeah, for silage ground, like, we like to have a minimum of 3 months between closing for silage. 3 months we'd like to have, you know what I mean? Like at this stage now, the horse has bolted, like, you're probably best wait until after your first cut silage if you're not taking a second cut of silage.
Mark, the National Liming Programme was launched recently. Can you tell me about it?
Yes, very, very welcomed. The National Liming Programme for 2023 was launched by Minister McConalogue there on the 15th of March. There's a nice fund there of 8 million. And again, it's good that there's a national recognition of the importance of soil fertility in terms of profitable and sustainable farming, and also to help farmers offset the cost of liming. Like, it's well recognised that, lime has as I was saying, it's a key nutrient, very important to get it right to ensure good soil health, good soil function. And again, in terms of the road that we're on, in terms of using nutrients more efficiently, reducing our use of chemical fertilizer, like, most definitely lime, has a key role to play as regards the place we are at this point in time.
How do farmers qualify to apply for the scheme, Mark?
In terms of qualifications, so again, you must, once you've submitted a basic payment application in 22, or you're submitting a basic income support for sustainability, a BIS application in 23, you're eligible to apply. Again, you'll get approval from the department. Also, you must purchase lime from a licensed quarry by the Department of Agriculture, and you must have up-to-date soil analysis as well. Samples that were taken in the last 4 years to guide you and see how much lime is recommended or is needed. So they will be some of the key bits of information, Catherine.
And once the farmer applies, what's the payment rate that they're allowed?
There's 16 euros per tonne. And again, there's a minimum of 10 tonnes up to a maximum of 200 tonnes, where you would be eligible to get the 16 euros per tonne incentive for applying ground limestone.
For farmers that's interested, Mark, how do they go about applying for the programme?
Again, they can apply themselves on agfood.ie, or they can talk to their advisor and get an application in. And again, in terms of the scheme, was opened up on the 15th of March and it's open till the 20th of April. So again, there's roughly a month there still. So I would encourage all farmers out there, to look at their soil test results, see how much lime they need, talk to their advisor and get their application in and go from there.
And you mentioned, Mark, the benefits of applying lime with increased grass growth and increased nutrient availability. What's the possible financial return for applying lime now that the lime programme is there?
In terms of the payback, like we were saying, anywhere in the region of a tonne to up to 2 tonnes per hectare in terms of extra grass dry matter production. And look, you're looking at a payback if you take, say, a ton of dry matter valued at, say, €100 per ton, take lime costing €30 per ton, for example. So the payback there is 3:1. So for every euro you spend on lime, you're getting a payback of up to €3 in extra grass production. So it's a very good return on investment in terms of getting your pHs right, along with all the other benefits.
That's great. Thanks very much, Mark.
Thanks, Catherine.
That's all for this week's episode, and my thanks to Mark for joining me on the show. You can catch up on all other shows and interviews from the Beef Edge podcast on the Teagasc website at teagasc.ie, or you can listen on Apple and Google Podcasts as well as Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe so you never miss a show. For all other updates from our beef programme, keep an eye on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Until next time, I'm Catherine Egan, and thanks for listening.